When you show up and you have tracked 4 or 5 months of all of your symptoms and your menstrual cycle, if you still have it, and you can show a report and say, and that's precisely how I'm doing, and that's what has happened since our last appointment, it's way more difficult for the doctor to dismiss you.
I'm Ann Marie McQueen, journalist and proud 50-ish woman, and we are here looking for the true truth in perimenopause, menopause, midlife, and beyond.
Opening our minds to other possibilities is not always easy.
Hotflash Inc.
You're all woman to me. All right, Ann Marie.
I want to thank Kion Aminos for being a gold sponsor of the Hotflash Summit. It was the first one, and it means the world to me that they went on a limb and sponsored it. Kion Aminos is such an interesting product. Like, everyone's out there arguing about creatine, and it's over here giving you 9 essential amino acids in the exact ratio that your body needs to build and repair muscle. Clinical research shows this leucine-rich formula is up to 6 times more effective than whey or food-based protein gram for gram. It's sugar-free, vegan, non-GMO, and very important to me moving forward and choosing brands to work with, third-party tested. When I say I notice a big difference, and in a time of large stress, when I'm drinking this every day, I feel I am sharper and I have more energy. This is a clean, science-backed product. If you want to try it for yourself, go to getkion.com/hotflash for 20% off. That's getkion.com/hotflash for 20% off. Thank you again, Kion.
My guest today is Sonja Rincon, a CEO and founder of Menotracker. This is an AI-powered menopause app, mostly focusing on the US, and it transforms symptoms into personalized insights and reports. When I started out in Hotflash, I looked at all the trackers, and for a while I thought that maybe I would launch a tracker, but I quickly got sidetracked with content and community and everything else. I found most of the trackers quite lacking. And Sonja has worked with women in perimenopause, and she's going to explain what it is they wanted and how she can use the information you put in to paint a picture of what's actually going on with you. This is born out of her own perimenopause tracking and what she needed to know. And she's going to talk to us all about the problems with other trackers and how she keeps your data safe and what her plans are. And I think you're really going to like hearing from her. She's a very interesting, driven person, and wait till you find out what she and her dog like to do for fun. I hope you enjoy my interview with Sonja Rincon. I'm very excited to talk to you about the business of Menotracking. Congratulations on your app.
We are already seeing increasing numbers of users, and this is very, very exciting because we're not so long in business yet. But we're really happy that we'll be providing the safest app that you can use to track the symptoms of perimenopause.
We're going to get into it. But first of all, you are a lawyer and you were experiencing your own perimenopause problems. So just tell me about that. When was that? How old were you? What was going on?
Sure. Yes, I'm a lawyer by training, and I would probably say now retrospectively, at that time I had no idea, of course, what was happening and that perimenopause was a thing at all. I would say retrospectively, my symptoms started at the age of 37, more or less. And it was, it started very slowly with sleeping issues, really. I had really trouble sleeping through the night, trouble remembering things. But basically, everyone told me, yeah, that's just related to stress. And I really believed that because, that could be stress related. At some point, though, I had a month where I really thought I would really develop some sort of dementia, which was really, really scary. It was really scary. And I had to deal with depressive moods. And that was really bothering me a lot because at some point they just prescribed me SSRIs and I took them. Well, it didn't really work. I was on them basically for a couple of years, though, at least 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And obviously afterwards, when I found out that all of that was related to perimenopause, I got a bit upset because somebody could have told me that.
Yeah. Did you taper off of the SSRIs?
Absolutely, yes. I personally, I'm on HRT. It really helped me, and I got rid of the SSRIs. And honestly, I'm doing way better with HRT. yeah, that has really done the trick for me.
What's your hormone therapy regime?
Well, I take the estrogen as a gel, because I'm based in Austria, we don't have patches. I really would love the patches though, but we don't have them. And progesterone, and I'm taking that in the evenings to sleep through the night. Actually, that's sort of working now. I had to increase the dosage to 150 milligrams of the progesterone though. The dosage was a very slow process. It took me like half a year to figure out which dosage would be great and when to take everything exactly. I know now I personally have to take the estrogen in the morning and the progesterone in the late afternoon.
Okay.
So it works for me. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for women, just while we're on this subject of hormone therapy, on how to do that?
Basically, I started tracking when it did work. First, because basically what happened was I went to the doctor, got a prescription, right? And it was like, here you have the prescription, and now, that's it. Off you go. Figure out how it works. So at the beginning, I was taking everything in the morning because I had no idea, right? I mean, yes, I was reading up on books, but already then I knew that it was different for every woman. So, I tried it in the morning, and it didn't really worked well. So I moved my progesterone to the evening, which was then obviously a bit too late. So after a couple of months, I ended up in the late afternoon. Because obviously it takes a bit longer for me to absorb that, or I don't know why really, but the late afternoon seems to be the trick, like around 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's the time I have to take it, so it really works for me. I think that tracking really makes a difference and not giving up too early. I mean, when I changed the regime, I basically always tracked at least 3 weeks to see if it really did the trick. Yeah. I think not giving up is like the key, not giving up.
Yeah, not giving it time. We've interviewed a doctor on the podcast, Dr. Vikram Tilalekar, and he said you really have to give it 4 months in his experience to see. And I think we're not, everyone wants everything so fast. And then I also like the idea of tracking. I've been started saying lately that women need to be like the CEO, the scientist, and the journalist of their own health, because there's so many things you have to do, like advocate for yourself in the doctor's office and manage your own health. But the tracking part is really key because so many different variables are happening that how will you actually know? So have you always been a tracker kind of a person?
I've always been a data kind of a person. I always like to see the big picture and to see how things are really connected. I think that made it a bit easier, but before mobile applications, I used Excel sheets to track stuff, mostly in fitness though. To see progress, but I think nowadays it's way easier to track things, really. And what it does, though, is it takes away the uncertainty because okay, I can see a pattern, and you won't realize that because honestly, usually you don't even know what you ate the day before yesterday. How are you going to remember that you had brain fog 5 days ago? Really, I mean,
perfect. Yeah, that is so true.
It's just not possible. And what it also does, and that's something I really like, is when you have the data, because you said advocate yourself at doctors, yes, and you have to totally do that, but it's way easier when you show up with data. Because it's way more difficult to dismiss you when you show up and you have tracked 4 or 5 months of all of your symptoms and your menstrual cycle, if you still have it, and you can show a report and say, and that's precisely how I'm doing, and that's what has happened since our last appointment. It's way more difficult for the doctor to dismiss you, really.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Okay, you are a lawyer and a single mother too. So, I'm in awe of everything you've accomplished. But where did it go from like you're a woman in perimenopause to, I think I could come up with something that will help women? And then, yeah, how did that happen?
How did it happen? Actually, it happened because one of my very good friends, she didn't get the promotion because her employer basically said, well, you look like you're not taking care of yourself, and you know what? She had hot flashes and she looked like she was just getting out of the sauna most of the day. So, and she didn't know what she had. The employer didn't know what she had. The only thing that the employer was really sure of is that she couldn't have a leading role in the company looking like that. So it was like, I was so upset because at that point I was like, okay, obviously she has symptoms of perimenopause. And I was like, that's in 2025, that can happen? Really? Seriously? These things still happen? That was the tipping point where I was like, okay, I had to deal with so many things. I had to fight for HRT. My friend didn't get the promotion. There has to be something where you can actually, educate yourself, track your symptoms. And that's basically helping you to take better care of yourself because nobody else will do it. Like you said, you have to be the CEO of your own health. Yeah. And that's basically a tool to be, for you to be a good CEO of your health. But that was the tipping point when she didn't get the promotion. I was really upset. And then, yeah.
I love that outrage on behalf of your friends. It's such a righteous outrage. So you must have looked at the trackers out there because there are quite a few. Some have come and gone. What did you find lacking and what did you think the market needed?
You know the feeling when you tried all your health trends, but you're still tired, foggy, or just not yourself? It's not your fault. True health starts deeper at the cellular level. Enter the first ever longevity gummies powered by Mitopure. They're the only clinically proven urolithin A gummies designed to recharge your cells, boost energy, and help you feel strong and vibrant from the inside out. They taste great. I've tried them. They're vegan and clean. And Mitopure's own testing shows they can add up to 12% more muscle strength in just 16 weeks. It's like giving your body a daily cellular tune-up. If you want to feel energized now and as you age, click the link to timeline.com in the show notes and use my code HOTFLASH for 20% off your first order. That's timeline.com and code HOTFLASH for 20% off your first order. Your cells will thank you.
Well, I mean, first of all, when I track symptoms and I really do the effort of the tracking, right? What I want to have is access to my own data and really for the data to paint the picture of my health. Yeah. So what I found was that the trackers that were available, you could track things, but you couldn't really generate a report or visualize your data or anything like that. It was more like a diary. And for me personally, it felt more like you were tracking the data for the owners of the application and not to really, not really to help yourself. It was not like a tool. That was something that I really didn't like. And one other thing, actually two other things. One was that most trackers were only available in English, and we have our application available already in more than 30 languages. Because I think that's sort of important. And in the age of AI, you can use AI for the good, and especially for translations, that's a very easy thing to do. But what was also bothering me was the way how data is handled nowadays. So I really wanted to do something that women could use without the concern of the data being sold.
Okay. So you have it in the other languages. I love that. Tell it to me about the data issue and why you wanted to keep it, to make it basically anonymous, which is very rare in this world of apps.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, when you look at applications, I mean, you always have to ask yourself the question, regardless if that's a menopause application or anything else. When something is really free, you have to ask yourself, how are these people making money? Because developing software is really expensive. That's not something you just do, right? Also, running a company does cost money. So you always have to ask yourself, what are they going to do? And usually nowadays, data is a gold mine, really. Because when you collect data of your users, you can sell it to marketing agencies. I mean, there are some period tracking apps who really made an impression with how they were selling data within the last few years. And there have been lots and lots of scandals. And what I really don't like is when women are getting exploited and when their data is being used against them, because I think that's just wrong. Yes, of course you can earn money with that, but I think nowadays there should be better ways to earn money, and that can be a very honest business of, I let you use my software, you pay me for the subscription. That could be it. So that was basically our main idea, was to do something that's just a business transaction and it doesn't have any backdoors.
So when someone signs up, how does it work? They're hidden, like their identity's hidden, but what do they tell you about them? And what do you not know?
Basically, when you sign up, You can put in your a nickname and an email address. We will never get your real email address. So basically what will end up in our database is a fake name and a fake email address. So we are not asking anything more of you. The only thing that we are asking you, and we're also explaining why we do that, is a year of birth. We're not asking for birth date. We're asking for a year of birth. And the only reason we're doing that is because if you consent that we can use your data for research to improve women's health, the year of birth really helps researchers to see what's the relation to symptoms and age and so on. But other than that, we're not asking for any private details. And basically, your real name and your real email address will never end up in our database. They are stored somewhere else that's heavily encrypted. And what else we did is even if there would be a breach, since we need basically two keys to connect the private data to your symptoms, it's very, very difficult. It's like, I would say, just imagine you take the key to your apartment and you fly with the plane around the globe and then you drop it somewhere.
Right.
That's how easy it would be for somebody to figure out that's your key, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you consulted with 200 plus women to put this app together. What did they want?
First of all, what did they want was the ease of use was something that was really a big thing. Obviously, the languages, because a lot were complaining that most apps were just in English. They wanted a community, so being able to connect with other women, which we're, by the way, implementing at the moment, will be released in the next few weeks. And they wanted to be able to really track the symptoms and see patterns and triggers. So that was actually a big thing. And they wanted to, for the application, to provide some sort of a report or else to help them advocate for themselves in the doctor's office. That was a big thing, actually.
Yeah, that's huge. And can you have any number of symptoms? Like, I know when I started out in this 5 years ago and I checked out a couple of trackers, I thought these have such a limited number of symptoms. Like, I couldn't track anything more than this limited number of, that was my main beef, was that I couldn't track all my symptoms on them. How did you tackle the symptom issue?
We have basically what we're doing is we're collecting user feedback all the time. We have a bit more than 40 symptoms. If you're missing a symptom, we have a feedback that you can give us anytime. And when we see, okay, there is something missing, we add it. We're very much relying on feedback. Okay. So if there is anything missing, we are trying to basically tailor everything to our users because that's how it's supposed to be.
And you are going to be able to provide information for research. So what kind of information are you gathering, like about ethnicity and symptoms and health and et cetera?
So basically, yes, ethnicity, that's a really good point because most data out there is really biased towards white women. And we think that, there is a lot of room for improvement. Let's put it like that. So we're asking ethnicity. We're asking about your year of birth, about your symptoms, the severity of your symptoms, the menstrual cycle, but also activities, mood. But we are going to make that really easy to track because what you can do is you can connect the application very, very soon with your wearables. So if you're like a person that likes Garmin or Whoop or, has, I don't know, whatever tracking device out there that you're already using, you could also use this data. Or, for example, if you're a person that's really taking care of nutrition and you're already tracking your nutrition, let's say you're using MyFitnessPal or something like that, you can also connect that. And what you will be able to see is basically a pattern. You will be able to see maybe a certain food is triggering your migraines, and your migraines are usually in the luteal phase of your menstrual cycle. Could be something. So the idea would be to show, to really get as much data as possible to show you a very detailed picture of your health. Okay. So you can take that to your doctor or just improve your quality of life yourself. Okay.
And did you still work as a lawyer when you were developing the app?
No. Okay. I dedicated all of my time doing that.
Okay. So you taught yourself programming, no code tools, and AI to to make this app. How like that, what a leap. I'm always interested in women in midlife who are shifting and growing, and we have so much experience, and it's like people who want to do something different, and it seems like that's too hard. Like I could never do that. And here you are doing it. So can you just describe for us a little bit how you bridged that gap in your knowledge and did it?
Absolutely. Well, basically, I was always really interested in computers. I mean, I grew up with a computer. I still know floppy disks. Well, the big disks, it's like if I would show that to my daughter, she wouldn't know what that is. She's 15. So, well, I grew up with all of that, so I was never really afraid to use it. And actually, that sort of never left me. It was I always liked all of the developments, and I'm really very much into all tech stuff that is new and new software but also hardware, of course. But I like to try new things. And it was at the very beginning of AI that I was totally into that, and I just basically used all of the tools. I was watching, like YouTube videos, and I did courses, and I was in lots of forums, and then I tried to build stuff myself. Basically, it was like a trial and error thing, but it was really fun though. And seeing the development, like every month there were at least 2 or 3 new things to try. I mean, I really love that, and I really think that whatever it is you want to do, you can totally do that. It's never too late to do anything. I mean, if you have a passion for something, you should pursue it, really, because you will regret that. Usually you only regret things you don't do. So I really spent a lot of time like getting to know all of those things, but I really have to say that the application as we have it now, it's not based on the self-taught things. I have developers doing that now, right?
Of course,
But yeah, because that would have been beyond the scope, really. But yeah, I mean, I was always into those things, and I still do courses whenever I have time. Whenever I'm interested in something, I just start it and see if it is for me. I mean, if it's not for you, you can always stop and say, okay, move on, do something else. I thought that was really cool, but now that I'm in it, I don't like it as much. Well, that can also happen. But that's fine.
Yeah, but you also, as a founder, like you're not going to be able to be bamboozled by a developer, because I find when you're dealing with people who know how to do something the average person doesn't know how to do. I've faced this in my journalism career, a designer or a photographer, like whoever it is that has something that you don't know how to do it. I find that can make the relationship more complicated. But if like the basics, so you're just going to be able to feel so much more comfortable about the work that they do, I would think. Is that
yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially at the beginning, and when you start business relationships and you're like in the networking process and so on, and people see, oh, a startup, maybe I can sell them something. It's like, and it still happens, right? It's like people try to sell you a service or to tell you how good they are, but if you have some sort of knowledge and you can say, okay, that doesn't seem right, at least you get a way better gut feeling. And I mean, you can still ask somebody who is really an expert to validate what that your feeling is right and there's something wonky about that. But yeah, definitely helps. I mean, it always helps to know stuff.
Yeah, it always helps to know a little bit about, at least a little bit about what it is you're buying and paying for. I think the service you're buying and paying for. So it's in 30 plus languages, and this is so lovely because I sometimes feel that the West or the Western world thinks that only women who speak English go through menopause. So I know that there are apps and products out there, but not that many. So what was the challenges of translating it? What was involved there?
Well, I mean, the challenge is actually first, since we're based in Austria, we started with the languages that our government is providing people with knowledge. And that were already 13 languages, actually. So in the healthcare sector. So, well, I mean, basically deciding which languages we're going to provide, and then to translate the whole layout. Of course, we had to consult native speakers and so on, and really see if the AI translations make sense or not. Basically figuring out which tool would make more sense. But it wasn't that difficult, honestly. And we really start to add languages to everything.
Okay. Did you find the AI translation was pretty good? Like, did you get someone who spoke the language to check it out? And was it pretty?
Yeah. It was pretty decent. What's really funny though is, I mean, my native language is German. Translation is in German. They really do suck still. It's really bad. I feel like every other language is way better. Yeah, we were even surprised that the Japanese version was really good. So yeah, it seems like it's at least on a level where you can have no issues understanding what you're supposed to do or what you could do, which is fine. But I think the quality of all of those services will improve over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you're based in Austria and can you sort of give me a flavor? It seems like the menopause conversation happens in England and the US, Like I just kind of wondering what's going on. Obviously you can't report on everything, but what's it like from where you're sitting?
First of all, I have to say that our main market is the United Kingdom and it's North America. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where everything is happening at the moment and where most of awareness is at home, basically. Here in the middle of Europe, I mean, I can see the topic is sort of reaching the public, but it's a very slow process, really.
Okay.
I mean, we had huge issues getting funding for the company because nobody understood what we were doing.
Okay. So just
Talking about menopause.
and in some of the other languages and other parts of the world, what's going on there? What's the uptake? And are you having advertising targeting? How are you getting the word out?
We do have advertising, but mostly what I'm doing is I'm looking for strategic corporations because it makes more sense, and also community work. Because what I really want to do is, since perimenopause or menopause is, I mean, 100% of women have to go through it. There is no way around it. I mean, you can have it, easier or harder, but you have to go through it. So what my goal really is now is in our experts pool that I'm building at the moment is to have doctors from all kinds of communities with various ethnicities telling us, what we could improve or specific topics that might be even more interesting for their own communities. So basically I'm doing now is outreach and I'm trying to onboard as many different women as possible because very soon we will have a community feature that where women will be able to basically educate themselves, but also get in touch with other women with a similar experience so they can exchange thoughts and so on. And we will basically give channels to, for example, experts of endometriosis, osteoporosis, everything. We have a very holistic approach to the topic because pretty much everything is really related to it, sort of. So, yeah, we're trying to. That's basically how we're doing that, is like spreading the word with community work. But yes, of course, also targeted advertisement, but that's not the biggest part.
Okay. And to wrap up, you're a Harley Davidson enthusiast and you travel on your motorcycle around Europe with your French bulldog. That's awesome.
That's true.
That's
yes.
amazing. So,
yes.
So if I was driving down the road, down the highway, I might pull up behind you. And what's your dog's name?
Roxy.
Roxy. Is Roxy, where is Roxy positioned on the motorcycle?
She's behind me.
Okay.
So yeah.
But on the motorcycle, she's behind you. Is she strapped in, or she's in a little seat?
Yes, she has her little seat that's connected to the motorcycle itself. So this is very safe. And she has this little seat belt, but she really enjoys it, actually. She really enjoys riding the bike. It's,
I wish I could.
We have everything. Maybe at some point.
That would make my day. I saw a guy with a dog on the back of a motorcycle in a small village in Turkey, and I still think about it and smile. It was my favorite thing. It's just the best thing I saw. So it's not something you see every day. And I think that's really cool. It's important to have a passion. And that's really fun. That's really cool. Where do you want to take this company? What's your dream vision?
Well, my dream vision would be to basically reach women around the world and to help them find out what perimenopause is before it hits them. That really would be the dream. But I would really love for Europe to pick up the pace on tracking and educating women because we're really far behind. That's a bit sad for me personally.
How many users do you have and how much are you charging?
Well, now we have a couple of thousand of users because we're in the very early stages. At the moment, we're not charging anything. We might start in the first quarter of 2026. It will be $2.
Okay.
So
All right.
a month, which is very affordable.
Okay.
But the education is free and it will stay free. Yeah.
Okay. So that would
you
be a
could
free
sign
part.
up. Yeah. There will be. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for explaining this. I think you've built a really cool product here. I love the idea that you can get data and paint a picture of your symptoms. I think this is very, very helpful. So I hope we stay in touch. I'm happy to connect, and I hope I see you and your dog on your motorcycle.
Thank you for having me. It was so interesting.
Oh, good.
It was really lovely talking to you.
Hotflash Inc. was created and is hosted by Ann Marie McQueen, produced and edited by Sonja Mac. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. Before using any products referenced on the podcast, consult with your healthcare provider, read all labels, and heed all directions and cautions that accompany the products. Information received through the podcast should not be used in place of a consultation or advice from a healthcare provider. If you suspect you have a medical problem, i.e. menopause or anything else, or any healthcare questions, please promptly see your healthcare provider. This podcast, including Ann Marie McQueen and any producers or editors, disclaim any responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of any information contained herein. Opinions of guests on this podcast are their own, and the podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about a guest's qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. This podcast is owned by Hotflash Inc. Media.